What's up? Brian Reynolds back with another video. We got the go-kart out of the shed. You may be able to see there's a hole right there. I'm actually in the middle of cutting a plate because I'm working on something related to the go-kart. As you see, I got a sprocket welded on there. It's an ugly weld all around. I don't care because watch this. This thing is like perfectly straight. It does not even wobble. So I'm proud of myself for that. And the reason why I actually have this, and no, I'm not taking the motor off of the mini bike because I actually have an electric motor that I'm going to be putting on this thing. I have 3 batteries, so it's 72 volts. There's the controller. Here's where the batteries plug in. It comes with a throttle, little foot throttle. It has even different speed settings, so 1 is slowest, the middle is the second fastest, all the way over is the fastest, and it has a forward and reverse, which is kind of cool. And of course I'm always start working before I decide a video, but I'm at the point where I'm getting ready to cut the plate for the motor, and once I get the motor plate, I'm gonna actually take these bolts and I'll just weld them on, and then I'll use the 2 nuts to gauge the height of the motor, so I can deal with the tension on the actual chain. Then I'll figure out the length of chain, use the chain breaker, go ahead and break the chain to the length I need. I am waiting for one more splined hub for a wheel. It's supposed to come in tomorrow. For time being, I'll probably just put one with a bearing on that side so it can roll, and then just this side is driven. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting out that motor plate. Once I finish cutting out that motor plate, I'll check back in. So as you can see, it got a little dark, but I got the studs in place. I kind of have it clamped on there for now, but of course it is working. It's nice and lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and tack on this little plate and move off the chain and the motor, fully weld on this plate so I can stay in place. And then once that plate is fully welded out, I will put the motor back on, put the chain back on. I'm still waiting on the 2 more hubs because they come in packs of 2, so I'll have another hub for this side. But for now, I'm going to actually put this wheel with the splines on here after I figure out a spacer for this little gap, and at least it'll be 1 wheel driven for now, because I'll probably just take like I said, the one with the bearing, and put it on this side for now, just so I can get it rolling. You can see that I have everything in place now. The motor mount is welded in place. I've tightened it in place so it's not moving, and as you can see, it freely moves. There is play in the chain. Ideally I'd like a little more play, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that little spacer for here, because this wheel will sit right here, and of course a nut will hold that on, and that side will be buttoned up. And then I'll create a spacer for this side, just so this side can roll, again with just a bearing, not the spline yet. And then I'll be done for the night. I'll wait for tomorrow to get the second wheel mounted. Once I'll have the second wheel mounted, I'll be good to go. Overnight, I'm going to actually take that little plank of wood and do a little temporary spot for the control module, and I'm going to mount it here, or possibly here, and then put the batteries over here, because the batteries will probably, I'll mount them, I'll have a separate battery plate so you can take the batteries off and charge them in the house, so it'll be pretty compact. Alright, so it is the next morning.
As I mentioned, I was gonna finish up building kind of a mock-up. For now, I just built it out of wood. Just proof of concept, of course. Got the motor in place. Got the one wheel being driven. I still, of course, am waiting for the second hub, so that's gonna be the kind of jerry-rigged little wheel on there, just so I can get it rolling. Same thing, I don't have the throttle pedal on there yet. I just zip tied this on here because, of course, why not? It's just to test it real quick. I'm about to give it a little rip around the yard just so we can see how it works. And then once I rip around the yard, I'm going to actually park it back into the shed because I'm waiting for that last wheel. Once I get that wheel in, we'll be in business. So I'm going to give it a little rip. Alright, so since it is one wheel peel, I feel like I'm going to get stuck a decent amount. But that's okay, because... So right now, I have it on the first speed setting. And... I mean, it's definitely a little peppy, as you can tell, especially compared to the to when the go-kart had a motor instead of an electric motor. It's definitely, the difference in noise is obviously very noticeable. I'm starting to think that these batteries might be dead. But one cool thing is it does have reverse, so you can always just back on up, which is nice. But as you can see, it does move. I think proof of concept is there. Of course, it has all different kind of power settings. In this case, holy crap. So put it in 3 and you can you can look, since it's a one wheel peel, you can tell once I hit the gas, this wheel lifts up. That is incredible. But yeah, so now I have a nice electric go-kart. I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, park it in the shed and wait for the other back wheel.
Right, so the correct hub has came in. I have a PVC pipe for a spacer for now. I'm gonna wait till I get the spacers in. I'm just having the PVC pipes for spacers for now. Of course, this was the hub that was on there. It's just a bearing. It just rolls. Doesn't do any good for a live axle. So this nicely bolts just back on. And alright, so this is the old hub, as you know. And it has a bearing in it. Would not work for a live axle. So I swapped it out already. I just had to undo the 3 bolts that I had on here. Already modified this wheel. I'm gonna mix match for now. I'm gonna probably replace that one with one of these, just so they all 4 match. But yeah, replace the bearing. I just buttoned up the wiring. So the next step is I'm gonna grab the batteries. I'm gonna take it for a test because I got the pedal in place. I just have it on this piece of wood for now. All the wood will get replaced with probably sheet metal or something. It's just, of course, proof of concept, and then I'll build it out. I have the key up here for now, kind of zip tied in place. I couldn't figure out a way how to get the actual twist throttle off just to keep the buttons. So the buttons are on this side for now for forward, reverse, and the speed controls. So yeah, I tidied up the wires a little bit. So I'm gonna go get the batteries, place the batteries in place, and go take it around the yard for a little rip. Like I said, I got the batteries, got everything plugged in. Let me put it in reverse. I don't know if the key, it's already on. As you saw, it does already move. I'm gonna go ahead and back it out. It's kind of dark, so I'll get up early in the morning. I'll take it for a spin around so you can kind of see. But I'm gonna go give it a little test putt and hope everything goes well. So like in my last clip, it was a little dark. Of course, it's another day, so I'm gonna take this thing out for a spin just to show that it does actually work. Of course, all the wood is temporary. I don't think this seatbelt works anymore. No. Oh well. We'll have to be getting a new seatbelt. Turn the switch to power. Put it to reverse. And look. It moves. Alright, to forward. And bada bing. And it's got pretty good get-go. So let me make sure my pockets are zipped up. Uh-oh. Right, so I have finished my little battery tray. I just kind of took scrap metal, made a little tray out of it, and put a strap on it. It's one, of course, to hold them in place, and two, as a little carrier. And as you can see, it's just gonna pop right there. And of course, wire management is always gonna be the worst, because there are a bunch of wires with this. But then this will actually bolt into place right here on that flange. And then once I have that bolt in place, of course, the batteries will not move at all, which is really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten all this up, hook up all the wires, and we'll take it for a little spin around the yard and park it into the shed. Call it a day. So I do want to do a quick overrun with the wiring. Of course, we got the motor wires to the plate, which this plate got chewed up by my cat, so I don't think it's going to actually stay in place. But we can try our best. The wires go into this. All the controllers, throttle, the key, all that's plugged in, kind of just wire bundled up here. But most importantly, your batteries are going to have to be in series, not parallel. So the negative of one battery will connect to the positive of the other. So as you see, the negative goes to the negative battery terminal, goes to the positive, which goes to the negative, which goes back to the positive, which will connect to this negative, and then positive to positive. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. You can see it's kind of already been melted a couple of times, but that's how you know I got power. So I'm going to go ahead and take a seat and rip it around a little bit. After I rip it around a little bit, like I said, I'll put it in the shed for the night. It is kind of cold. It's like 50 degrees, so this is going to be a chilly ride. Make sure that I'm in forward, and boom, there we go. It's got pretty good pickup. Of course, it's not going to be the best, but it is pretty quick. Looks like that wheel is about to give up on us again. I'm gonna have to figure out a more permanent solution.
But one thing I did figure out is that if you put it in any other speed, it's gonna make it so that I need new batteries. Because yeah, it's nice and quick, but it definitely kills the batteries a lot faster. See there, it just cut off. Any higher power level, it seems to not like it at all. Honestly, that steering is a little loose, so I'm gonna actually tighten that real quick. Alright, I went ahead and just hand tightened it, and like I said, when I put it in second, like right now I'm fully matted, the batteries cannot push that amperage at all. But once I put it back in one, as you can see now it's putting. So one of the things that I need to do is of course invest in more expensive batteries. The batteries that I have right now are of course highly underpowered. They have the watts, not watts, they have the volts to do it, but they definitely don't have the amps, because as soon as you put it in anything that requires the batteries to output more than just a little bit of power, it just drains the batteries automatically. So, but as you can see, as long as you keep it in the first setting, you're perfectly fine. So like I said, I'm gonna just get this into the shed. I'll probably end up having to push it. Funny enough, reverse seems to always work a lot better, so I think I might just reverse this thing into the shed. Hold on.